for Meghan Markle. I mean, no one understands how hard it is for her to be an unmade millionaire and live in a mansion in Montecito and fly everywhere by private jet. The little people have no understanding. They're just so busy kind of desperately trying to fight to stay alive or feed their own children. They can't comprehend how hard it is for Meghan now that she's married to Harry. And
Harry is whipped. Do you know the expression whipped?
I'm familiar with the phrase.
I won't use the full expression. Meghan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. And I wasn't right from the beginning.
Same
I think
to you.
poor Harry is being led around by his nose. It'll end and
Trump directly took aim at Meghan Markle, calling her terrible and making it abundantly clear that he believes Prince Harry is entirely under her influence. According to Trump, Harry isn't just married to Meghan. He's following her lead in every aspect of his life. In his typical brash style, Trump even threw in a sarcastic remark, suggesting that Harry is going to need a lot of luck living with her. The underlying message? Harry has made a massive mistake, and Trump isn't afraid to say it. This isn't the first time the former U.S. president has publicly criticized Meghan. In the past, he famously referred to her as nasty and has never shied away from expressing his disapproval of how she has handled her time in the public eye. But Trump didn't just stop at Meghan and Harry. He shifted his focus to the wider royal family, a subject he has always seemed to admire, at least when it comes to those who, in his view, uphold tradition. He made a point of praising the late Queen Elizabeth II, describing her as a strong and intelligent leader who never made the kind of mistakes he believes Meghan and Harry have. For Trump, the Queen exemplified dignity and class, qualities he feels the Duke and Duchess of Sussex abandoned when they stepped away from their royal duties.
bad. He has been so disrespectful to the country, and I think he's an embarrassment.
Should she go into American politics?
I'm not a fan of hers. I wasn't from day one. I think Harry has been used horribly. I think someday he will regret it. He probably does already. But I'm not a fan of hers at all. And I think she's very disrespectful to the Queen that we just spoke about, who's such a great woman, who's such a great person, historic person. I think she's very disrespectful to the royal family, but maybe most importantly to the Queen. And I just, from day one, I never got it. I never got it. I see her, I listen to her. She's trying to do things that I think are inappropriate.
And that's where the real criticism hit hardest. Trump didn't just take aim at Meghan. He condemned the way she and Harry treated the royal family as a whole. In his view, the couple didn't just step away. They disrespected tradition, turned their backs on their duty, and created chaos in an institution that once stood as an unshakable pillar of stability. While Harry may be the Queen's grandson, Trump made it clear that any respect he once had for him is gone. To him, Meghan is bad news, and Harry is in serious trouble of his own making. Trump sees Harry as a man who walked away from everything he had ever known, giving up his royal life for a woman who, in Trump's eyes, holds all the power in the relationship. And if you ask Trump, that decision is going to cost Harry dearly. But Trump's comments weren't just a lone opinion. They ignited a firestorm. The moment he criticized Meghan, British commentator Katie Hopkins jumped in, refusing to sit this one out. Never one to mince words, Hopkins unleashed her signature no-filter attitude, mocking Meghan's repeated narrative of struggle and hardship. To Hopkins, Meghan's portrayal of herself as a victim is nothing more than an act, and she wasn't about to let it go unchallenged. With Trump leading the charge and Hopkins eagerly backing him up, the criticism of Meghan and Harry only intensified, proving once again that when it comes to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the controversy is far from over.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast with Spotify, Archetypes. You'll notice this look is a nod to Princess Diana and also...
Hopkins' words were nothing short of brutal. She took direct aim at Meghan, mockingly calling her an unmade millionaire and slamming the idea that Meghan has ever truly struggled. In Hopkins' eyes, Meghan is a woman who lives in the lap of luxury, flying on private jets, signing multi-million-dollar deals, yet still insists on portraying herself as a victim. The contradiction wasn't lost on Hopkins, who painted Meghan as someone who constantly demands attention while simultaneously claiming she has been silenced. The irony, right? But Hopkins didn't stop there. She went after Meghan's entire media career, openly questioning her so-called success. She pointed out that, for all the hype surrounding Meghan's big money deals, the actual results have been underwhelming. Take her Spotify podcast, for example. One season dropped, and then it was over. And what about her Netflix projects? According to Hopkins, they failed to make the kind of impact one would expect from a high-profile, multi-million-dollar contract. To Hopkins, Meghan isn't the trailblazer she portrays herself to be. She's a privileged woman playing the victim, and the world is starting to see through it.
She, I would say, although she wouldn't show it because she was strong and smart, but I would imagine they broke her heart. The things that they were saying were so bad and so horrible, and she was in her 90s and hearing this stuff. I think they broke her heart.
No, it was horrible.
I think they really hurt her very bad.
Hopkins didn't hold back, openly mocking Meghan's attempts to stay relevant and suggesting that she's desperately clinging to fame without making any real impact. According to Hopkins, Meghan isn't the admired and influential figure she wants to be. She's becoming forgettable. In her view, Meghan is someone who craves importance but lacks the substance to sustain it. And then came the personal jab. Hopkins didn't just criticize Meghan's public image. She went deeper, implying that behind the scenes, people don't actually like working with her. Labeling Meghan as not a very nice person, she hinted that the Duchess's reputation in Hollywood isn't nearly as powerful as she claims. Is Meghan truly the Hollywood powerhouse she wants the world to believe she is? Hopkins doesn't think so, and in her eyes, the cracks in Meghan's carefully crafted image are starting to show.
The most love I have is for me, and I...
But here's the thing, Hopkins wasn't just going off on Meghan for the sake of it. There's a bigger conversation happening, and Trump's next move regarding Prince Harry is something no one saw coming. After all the jabs at Meghan and Harry, you'd think Trump would escalate things even further. Maybe even push for Harry to be kicked out of the US. But nope, Trump threw a curveball. Despite calling Harry weak, controlled, and out of his mind for leaving the royal family, Trump made it clear that he wouldn't deport him. And his reasoning? In Trump's eyes, Harry already has enough problems, thanks to Meghan. Think about that for a second. Trump, a man who has never shied away from speaking his mind or making bold moves, is choosing to leave Harry alone. Not because he likes him, but because, as far as Trump is concerned, Harry's punishment is already built into his life. And let's be real, Harry's U.S. visa status has been a hot topic, with some even calling for an investigation into whether he should be allowed to stay in the country. But Trump? He's staying out of it, refusing to give King Charles yet another royal crisis to deal with. Instead, he's sitting back and watching, convinced that Harry's decision to walk away from his royal life is already costing him more than any political move ever could.
Donald Trump has ruled out deporting Prince Harry from the US, claiming the Duke of Sussex already has enough problems with his wife. I fell around.
Well, he's probably saying as it is, but actually I think deep down what I think he's saying is that Harry's here now, just like trying to put the whole issue to bed. Yes, he's obviously made a dig at Meghan and saying that's his big problem, but actually probably deep down he's thinking, and must remember, Donald Trump is quite a royalist. He's got a lot of time for the royal family. He really, as we saw in the presidential election, he was sort of reminiscing about his state visit when he met the Queen, and he definitely has a soft spot for the King and also for Prince William. But I think it's also saying we don't need to give the King any problems. He's trying to recover from cancer. William's obviously got his, with his father and his wife both in recovering from cancer. So I think there's actually a sort of subplot here that actually we've got to just say he's here now, put a line under it, but wish him luck.
But there's another layer to all of this. Trump isn't just throwing personal jabs. He's playing the long game. He's made it clear that, no matter who's in charge, he still respects the UK and its traditions. Even with Keir Starmer now leading the country, Trump has consistently backed Britain, staying aligned with its legacy and values. This is about strategy. He's making sure his ties with the UK remain strong, carefully avoiding any unnecessary conflicts with the royal family. And as for Meghan and Harry? They might have dodged a bullet this time, but with the way things are going, who knows how long their luck will last. Trump took his shots, Hopkins doubled down, and then, almost like clockwork, Meghan and Harry made sure they were seen. Right after Trump's comments spread like wildfire, the Sussexes appeared at the Invictus Games, all smiles and affection, putting on a textbook power couple display. They held hands, whispered to each other, exchanged loving glances. Every move seemed intentional. Coincidence? Unlikely. Body language experts weren't convinced this was just a normal day for them. Even lip readers analyzed their conversations, with some suggesting it was a calculated effort to project unity and defiance. Trump essentially declared that Harry's life with Meghan is a disaster, and suddenly, they're in front of the cameras showing off their perfect relationship. It's the kind of thing that makes people wonder, was this real or just another performance? Was this a genuine moment of love, or was it a carefully staged message to critics, proving they're still standing strong despite the backlash?
Harry's been used and been used terribly. It's ruined his relationship with his family.
Yeah, and you can't use a royal title and get involved
Well,
in
I didn't know she
American
was
affairs.
doing that, but
well,
certainly
no, she has been doing it.
It's not appropriate.
Time Meghan and Harry have been accused of strategically showcasing their bond whenever controversy arises. In the past, critics have pointed out that whenever they face backlash, they seem to double down on public displays of affection, leading some to believe it's a calculated move for sympathy. And just like that, the media turned this moment into a full-blown debate. News outlets, talk shows, online forums, everyone had an opinion. Some sided with Trump and Hopkins, arguing that they simply said out loud what many were already thinking, that Meghan constantly plays the victim and that Harry seems miserable. To them, the couple's public display was just another performance. Others fiercely defended Meghan and Harry, insisting that they're just living their lives and unfairly facing relentless attacks. From this perspective, Trump and Hopkins aren't truth-tellers. They're bullies who refuse to let the couple move on. And then, of course, there's the neutral crowd, the ones sitting back with their popcorn, enjoying the drama unfold without taking a side. But one thing is undeniable. This feud isn't going away. Meghan and Harry continue to make headlines, while Trump and Hopkins refuse to back down. Whether people love them or hate them, everyone is talking about them. And that raises the big question, what happens next? Because in this battle of public image, someone is winning and someone is losing. At the rate things are going, it won't be long before the next shot is fired.
I can tell you now the whole of Britain was laughing. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever... On social media and in mainstream media as well, which laps it up. Unfortunately, many people didn't seem to disagree. I mean, I don't know if you saw Meghan's impromptu speech at the Invictus Games, where she wasn't planning on speaking, but somehow managed to talk people's ears off. But, you know, many people in this country just have the sense that, like, Harry is not very intelligent and he's being led like a dog wagging its tail by his very American, very headstrong wife. Now, of course, again.
So, what happens now? Does Trump double down and go even harder on Meghan and Harry? He's never been one to back away from a feud, and if history is any indication, he's more than willing to keep this battle going. And what about Meghan? Does she make a media move of her own? A tell-all interview? A pointed podcast episode? She has the platform, the connections, and the ability to shape her own narrative, so a response wouldn't be surprising. And then there's Harry. At what point does he start questioning all of this? Does he second-guess the path he's taken, or does he continue standing by Meghan's side no matter how much the controversy escalates? Because here's the thing, people are watching. Meghan and Harry want to control their story, but when major figures like Trump and Hopkins step in, that control starts slipping. They're no longer just battling the tabloids or royal insiders. They're up against global figures with massive influence. One thing is certain,
when they took,
this drama isn't going away.
I have to be careful
how
I phrase it because I do own this. It is my responsibility. I am accountable.
And the world will keep watching. If history has taught us anything, it's that this is just another chapter in a never-ending saga. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Check out more of our videos right here.